Okay, well, I guess we're going live. Hey, 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 how is everybody today? I hope you had a good Christmas holiday. If you can just shoot me a, a quick message and let me know that you're here so I can see who's here. It'd be great to see. And we'll get started in a couple of minutes. Glad to be here. Hope everybody had a good long weekend with that Christmas holiday in there. Let me know where you're joining me from. If you are here already, I'd love to see you. Love to hear from you. And we'll get started in about a minute, okay? I've put this week's a link to this week's Summary Sunday in the first comment so you can follow along. Okay, well, welcome everybody. It is officially noon on December 28th. I'm Hannah Morgan, Career Sherpa. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Nigel. Good to see you. Hey, I want to just let you know that in the first comment here on the live chat in my comments is a link to the Summary Sunday. And this week's Summary Sunday was dedicated to help and hope for the new year because that is those two things, help and hope, are the two things that I think that most of us need, especially job seekers. And what I remember when Susan Joyce posted back in the early times, probably March, April, maybe even May, she would post the top 100 companies that were hiring. And it just occurred to me that that was the hope that everybody needed. Those people that were laid off, they needed to know that companies were in fact hiring. And so it was Susan's job, Susan Joyce of jobhunt.org, and she provided that hope and help for job seekers to help them understand that they shouldn't give up, that there were opportunities out there and companies were hiring. So good to see you, Heidi. Thanks for joining us today. So hope and help. And I'm going to plant this seed with you now, and I'm going to come back and ask you later, but I want you to think about what are you hopeful about for 2021? As a matter of fact, that was one of the articles that I shared in this week's Summary Sunday. Jessica Sweet of Wishingwell Coaching asked a bunch of job search and career coaches why we can be hopeful about your career in 2021 and beyond. And I just reread that this morning. It was really it was refreshing. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity of what's going on politically, the negativity around what's going on with um, the the economy, and all of that stuff. But I think if we just stay focused in on the good news, and that's really what that article on LinkedIn was all about. What is there to be hopeful about in 2021 when it has to do with your career? So I'm going to come back and ask you all that question, but I want you to be pondering it as we go through the rest of the conversation today. What are you hopeful about for your career in 2021? Um, so that was the first article that I shared in this week's Summary Sunday. Then the next one was about negotiating your job offer. And one of the things that I have been hearing for a long, long time, especially from people who are unemployed, they do not want to um, ruin their chances of a job offer or have the job offer rescinded because they ask for too much. And if you've ever thought that, then you please go read that Forbes article, because it talked. Caroline Ceniza-Levine wrote this. It was about the title of the article is "Can You Lose a Job Offer by Asking for Too Much?" And it really explores why that's not even a possibility. It really won't happen. I like to say, and this is what I've always said, because it's a really simplistic explanation. Just imagine that the job offer is like a proposal, a marriage proposal. Think about what has gone into that relationship so that so that the person feels comfortable and ready to ask you to marry them. That there's a lot of stuff there, and that person who is extending the proposal is really committed. They are pretty sure you're going to say yes, because there are other signals, buying signals, sort of thing going on. So if you get to the point where somebody is offering to propose to you and you say, can we just have one more month? Or can you get me a bigger ring? Or whatever it is that you might want instead of just the engagement. And you think the person's really going to say no? No, they love you. They want to be married to you. So they're much more likely um, to accommodate some of your more basic requests. And if they wanted a bigger ring and you love them, you probably would get them a bigger ring or a different ring, whatever it is they wanted, right? The thing is that emotions get so caught up in this whole job offer thing, both on your end and on the employer side. You're both emotionally involved in this, and so people don't want it to go bad, and they're much more willing to make accommodations if it's not exactly what you're looking for. So, and I'll ask you this question right now: has anyone here ever had a job offer taken off the table because they asked for too much during the negotiations? Yes, Ruth. Hey, Ruth, good to see you. It's so much like a dating situation, isn't it? Has anyone ever had, hey, Wayne, good to see you. Has anyone ever had a job offer taken away because you tried to negotiate? Let me know. Because my hunch is, what I've seen people think it has happened is when you're in the interviewing process, if they stop talking to you or say, no, we don't want to talk with you any longer, that's not a job offer. The job offer is you've gone through a series of interviews and you get to the point where they say, we'd like to offer you a job. This is how much we're willing to pay. And then you try to negotiate that and they say, no, never mind. I don't think that has actually ever happened, legitimately. So, and if it did happen, I would question the employer anyway. So I want you to go read Caroline's article about negotiating a job offer. I want you to read that now before you actually have a job offer. So that gives you the confidence and the ability to prepare to have the negotiation as you are entering into the interviewing process. Because really, that's when negotiating starts. You're doing all your fact finding and information gathering throughout the interview. So by the time you get to the negotiation, you already have an idea of where the employer stands. You know sort of what their policies are or what that person's feelings are about some of the things that are important to you because you've had a conversation during the interview. So that's a great way to test the waters before you actually get to the interview stage. So negotiating your job offer is definitely something you want to do. I love telling this story. There was a guy that I worked with long ago, and he came into the break room one day and he said, man, they're totally underpaying me for this job. And I looked at him, I said, what do you mean? He's like, I'm not making what I made in my last job to work here. I'm like, none of us are. We knew that coming in the door. So did you when you accepted the salary. He's like, yeah, but now I feel like I'm really being taken advantage of. So he ended up quitting or finding another job and leaving. But if you feel like when you accept a job offer, you're in the job and you're actually doing it, if you feel you are underpaid for the work that you are doing, you really don't have anyone to blame other than yourself. So if you feel that you need and want to make more money and it's the going rate for the kind of work that you're going to be doing, and you better ask for it. Otherwise, you'll be disgruntled and you'll have to go find a new job, and nobody likes looking for a new job. The next article was actually it's from the official LinkedIn blog, Building Your Network in a Virtual World. And I thought that there were some good tips in here. Granted, it's a relatively short article, but there was some basic good information here on when you are connecting with somebody or interacting with somebody, how important it is to identify commonalities. What do you and that person share? Whether you mention that in a comment or whether you actually mention it in your invitation to connect on LinkedIn. And there's some other good tips in there too. So if you haven't read that and you are struggling to reach out to people or don't know what to say when you're connecting, or you just want to up level your skills when it comes to networking virtually, there you go. That wonderful article on LinkedIn. The next article was actually one that I had written, sorry. Bob McIntosh on things career related, how to post and engage on LinkedIn. So one of the things that is so misunderstood, I think is the word, is that LinkedIn is a social media platform. The whole reason it was invented was to connect people on a professional level. It wasn't for job search. I don't know who said that. It's not true. That's not why it was invented. That became a byproduct of it. It was invented so that people could share their ideas and connect with people who were doing similar things in the world of work. That was its purpose. And so when you go and you look at what people are doing on LinkedIn, oftentimes it's steered away from the genuine, authentic purpose of connecting, right? And so when I talk to people about what they should write on LinkedIn and how to engage, what to post and how to comment is really what this comes down to. That's how you job search. That's what job search really is all about. It is building a network of people that you have something in common with and having conversations and learning from one another so that you you can all be better off. You can be better off, and the person that you're interacting with will be better off too because they know you. It is because of those conversations, those digital conversations, those online conversations, that you will hear about other opportunities, and that people will learn about you. So that's to me really is the beauty of word of mouth marketing, really. So in Bob's article that I guest post wrote, it talks about the different ways to post and what to say on LinkedIn to help build that your network. I want to take a break now and I'm going to ask you that question that I asked in the very beginning, which was, and if you can answer in comments, what are you hopeful about when it comes to 2021? That is the question that I'm asking, and I want you to think about and answer in a comment. What are you hopeful about when it comes to 2021? In the article Jessica Sweet wrote, well, in her blog post that quoted all these people, I said there were some things that made me hopeful about 2021. One was the fact that companies really are beginning to accept the idea of work from home. Woot, woot, woot. Really, that's such a wonderful thing because it allows us all to have a little bit more flexibility with our lives. I remember, and for any of you who have young kids, it's so challenging. Your kid is home sick from daycare or from school, and you can't go into work, and you really, the kid's sleeping all day long. You really could be at work, but you can't be at work because an adult needs to be home. Being able to work virtually just takes away that guilt and that the pressure of having to find an alternative solution for your children, the people that you love. So there are many good things about that. Also, I think that our ability to more freely have conversations and use Zoom Like that was a big stumbling block before. I had so many people that didn't want to Zoom with me or didn't want to have video conversations. They'd much rather meet in person. Well, no, I'm not meeting with you in person. I'm going to meet with you over Zoom. It's almost the same. So now we've all sort of bought into the idea, hey, I don't need to jump in my car and go to a coffee shop or go somewhere to meet somebody. We can do this Zoom. And I think that that is more widely embraced, which means it's easier to network with people. I think that I learned and my family learned that we will never take anything for granted again. Probably the biggest lesson that we've learned from 2020 is that you can't count on anything happening the way it's supposed to, and we don't want to take anything for granted. And we've had some really great time as a family, which we wouldn't have had before. So there are lots of really good things that came out of 2020, and I'm looking forward to how that translates into 2021. Yeah, Nigel, I think we're all still learning. And here, so Nigel says a greater understanding of the complex world of job search because I think I still understand so little. You're not alone. If you, and this is one of the things that regularly catches me off guard or surprises me. I remember 2009, 10, 11 like it was yesterday. And I remember how devastating it was for the thousands of people who found themselves without a job. And they, like you, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to start their job search, didn't know how to find a job, right? And then they eventually, it took them longer than it probably should have, but eventually they got jobs. But you know what they forgot, Nigel? They forgot all those valuable lessons that they learned. They stopped networking and they went about their life and as if that nothing ever happened. And that's what breaks my heart is the people that learned this lesson a few years ago are not teaching you all. They should have taught you long ago, though you weren't ready to listen. But don't ever stop looking for another job again because you will be caught flat-footed. And I don't want to see you all go through this again. If you're always networking and looking for your next job, you'll never be caught flat-footed again. All of this stuff that you're learning now will become second nature, and you can find a way to incorporate it into your busy work life. So, yeah, Lori, I tend to do that. There is a silver lining in every situation. And I'm not really an optimist. I'm more of a realist, but I also understand that negativity will kill you. And if you just sort of cast blame and look at all the bad things that are happening, you could be really, really unhappy. And that doesn't do anything. That doesn't solve any problem at all. Wayne, you've got some momentum going, right? Yeah. Good. And I think that this is a weird week anyway, and it always has been that week between Christmas and New Year's. What's really happening, right? The reality is, and I'm watching lots of recruiters on Twitter and things like that, and they're saying, you know what? This is a week where I'm sort of held up in my home, looking through candidates that may have applied for jobs because when January 1st comes, they're going to be doing a lot of interviewing. They're going to be ramping up their interviewing process and making phone calls and all of that stuff. This week is sort of a break for them, but it's not really a break. They're looking at their pool of candidates. So um, if you have been applying to jobs and if you have been active and if you haven't been active, use this week to be active on social media, to engage with people that you may have always wanted to reach out to. Because chances are, even if they are at work, they're not really working. There's not a lot happening. And they might have more free time. They may have their LinkedIn browser open. They may be looking to see what's going on. So try using this week to build those relationships, tighten up relationships, and forge new relationships with people that you've always wanted to reach out to. They may be looking for something to do. Ruth, yes, I'm reading what you wrote, and I think that we've all been forced to be more resilient, and we probably have surprised ourselves with how resilient we've had to be over the last few months. So kudos to all of you job seekers and everyone out there that has really been forced outside of your comfort zone to try and do new things. and to meet new people and to discover new things. Like that's the other really huge thing about this. So when you're in a job that you maybe like but maybe don't really love, you don't have time and you don't make time to really evaluate what you want out of a new job. So the sad part of getting laid off is that you do have that time to reflect on what's most important to you. What do you really enjoy doing? What kind of an organization do you really want to work for? What's most important to you? And where is there a demand in the market for what it is you do? And I think that self-exploration and that self-assessment is a luxury that most of us don't get the opportunity to use. And so, for those of you that have found yourself without a job during these COVID times, you've had that, or you should have used that to really evaluate what's important to you. What do you need to do next to feel fulfilled? What is your purpose? And go live out that purpose. So, yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot more people really fine tuning. This isn't just about getting your next job for more money or a career move. It is finding a job that's going to be fulfilling in some way, shape, or form. And I think that that's the big shift we're going to see and feel moving into 2021, not just for people who are unemployed, but people who are employed too. They're not going to just be moving for the money. They're going to be moving for the a good fit job, a job that's going to be fulfilling. I think that's my thing. Um, and then let me just see. I think there was another article in Summary Sunday. Oh, yeah. So I shared this tweet, and because I hear so many people tell me over the years, and it's not just recently, I've heard this forever amongst job seekers, how do I stay motivated? And so I tweeted this. In order to do almost anything, you need to feel motivated, right? That's a true statement. So maybe the question isn't what do you need to do to stay motivated, but maybe you're not motivated because you're not pursuing the right job with the right companies. Maybe that's the problem. Because if you were really excited about a job or finding a next job because it was your dream potential career, nothing would stop you. That level of enthusiasm and excitement would propel you and give you the motivation to talk to people in that field and learn everything that you could and to meet all the people that you could meet. But if you're not feeling that urge to do this, then maybe you're looking for the wrong stuff. Maybe that's the problem with the lack of motivation. Part of the problem, right? It is hard to continue in job search. Everybody knows that. It is the because you're putting yourself on the line and you're facing rejection or indifference, and it's really very challenging. But I will always go back to that. If you aren't really motivated to work or to job search, maybe you're not doing the right stuff. Maybe you're not pursuing the right kind of job that would get you out of bed in the morning. So that's my thought on that. Okay. Now, I'm going to wind up, but I want to ask if you all have any questions before we leave for the afternoon. This is the last Job Search Live of the year. And I keep saying I'm not sure if I'm going to do this again in 2021. If I do, it might be a different outlet. We'll see. So are there any questions that you all have that you want to ask of the group or me before we leave for the day, for the week, for the year? Nigel, you're not alone. Most of us don't network until we see there's a need for that. So it's a very valuable lesson learned, right? And it's actually not all that bad. It's actually sort of fun. Okay, if there aren't any questions or thoughts before we part, let me wish you all a really, really happy 2021. Happy New Year. I hope you find a unique, memorable way to celebrate the ringing in of this new year and the ringing out of 2020. There's definitely good riddance. And I wish you all the best. I really do. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Make it a great year, and I'll see you on the other side.